yesterday after the open line, right? Should be. On pourrait s'avancer là, on s'avancera un peu. Okay, so doing some observation, so you can be looking at observation to see if there is any asymmetry from the front, asymmetry from the back. If you see any scoliosis, kyphosis, if you turn and face this way, you can be looking if there is a flat back in the thoracic spine, if there is a kyphosis, if there is a forward-head posture with that kyphosis, so patient sitting like this, like many of us. That's the main thing we will be looking for at this point in time. Okay? You can look also for muscle hypertrophy, hypertonicity. You can look for any muscle atrophy, the multifidus. We said from what we said in the lumbar spine, we are all the way up to the cervical spine. You can see sometimes that there's a little atrophy of those multifidus very close to the spine. That is what you will be looking for. Then, come back and face forward. Then we will be looking at range of motion. Alors, battery, maybe it might be weak. So from observation, we are doing a scan. We will be moving to range of motion. So observation should be obvious. The obvious things. You see scoliosis, you see something obvious, not looking at one little detail. Okay. Then range of motion. The best is to do it at the edge of the bed, so that you can be moving from side to side as you are applying overpressure. It should be done in a sitting position. If you do it in a standing position, everything will be moving, not only the thoracic spine. I will be asking my patients to just back up a little bit so that the knees are well rested at the edge of the bed. They don't have to have their feet on the floor. Okay, so if they are well rested this way, it's enough. I will be asking my patient to cross this arm like this. Elle est vraiment à l'eau batte, je ne sais pas si on en a d'autres là. Je suis dans c'est marqué rouge. Pas bon signe. Red flag. So Pat is going to look for batteries. Otherwise, maybe can we see if this stand maybe has access to OS 100? There might be some batteries there. Can you find any batteries on the other side as I'm doing something? Thank you, guys. So we will be assessing range of motion. We said the easiest is to look at range of motion in rotation first. Why? Because there's a lot of rotation in the thoracic spine. If there is some discrepancy, it will be easier. Okay? So I need to be in front of the patient. I will be a bit on the side so that you can see, guys. And I will be asking my patient to turn to one side as much as possible. So let's turn to the right side as much as possible. And I will be looking at, in the quantity of range, I will be looking at his shoulder, where his shoulder is in space. Here versus there, or if you can go further in range. The curve as they are turning, so see how I will be moving from side to side, looking at the curve, looking at how much range there is. Okay? The easiest is to look at one thing at a time. So he can move that far. I will be asking if there is any pain as he is doing it. Any pain? Juste pour compliquer la vie. Pain where? Right side, left side? Central. Okay. So can we do the same thing and turn to the other side? You can place your arm this way, and we can do the same thing. So then the goal. So then the goal is to see if there is any discrepancy from side to side or any pain on one side. Is it harder to do it on one side versus the other one? Is it easier, harder to do it? Is it the same? So, yeah, so look at can you see the shoulder on that side? And then turn to the other side. Any pain on that side? When you're turning, no pain on that side. A little more movement. I will be then, so I can look at the curve, go from the back and set the curve, move to the other side. Look at the curve also, there seems to be a little something around there. Coming back. For sure, if you're doing if on one side, and you don't compare from side to side just the quantity of range at first, for sure you're going to miss it. It wasn't that obvious. It was a small discrepancy from side to side. Okay? So that's important. So look from side to side first, then look at the curve after all. So looking at quantity of range first and then quality of the curve. I will be doing overpressure. So I will be asking my patient to turn again to one side, and I will see what's the end feel at the end range. So that's the quality of the range. Turn to that side, and we will be doing the same thing. What's the quality of range at that side? That's for range of motion. Christelle, penses-tu que je peux te mettre là-dessus, trouver des petites batteries, s'il vous plaît? Ah, merci. Like I said, starting with rotation, and then we will be doing side flexion. So same arm crossing. I will be asking my patient to bend, but I will be saying, let's bend, bringing your shoulder close to your hip, so that they won't be, so that they won't be moving all the way through the lumbar spine. Okay? So I will be looking at side flexion to the right side, and for sure he is moving a bit lower down. Okay? So I might guide him again. I will see what he is doing on the other side first. Any pain doing this? Okay, bend to the other side. Any pain when you are doing this? Okay, come back. And I might guide him saying, okay, let's do it this way, and then look at overpressure. I need to look at what is going on at the level of the upper thoracic versus lower thoracic and lumbar spine. I will be doing the same thing on the other side, looking for overpressure, looking at the curve, and see if there is any discrepancy from side to side. So overpressure, when I was doing it, overpressure, just bringing one shoulder up, one down. Okay, that's the way I did it. Usually I do it from the front, so then to the side, doing overpressure this way, then to the other side, doing overpressure this way, again to the other side. It seems to be a little step on that side. Okay? So far so good? Then I will be looking at flexion. I will be asking my patient to bring the elbow close to the SIS, so that he will be bending at the thoracic spine. And I will be doing overpressure by having one hand. I'm assessing for, we said, from T2 to T6. So we will be having one hand at T2, one hand at T6, and I will apply overpressure. So I'm applying overpressure this way, not compressing down, but more in the direction of the flexion. I will be asking my patient to do extension. So if he is, peut-être qu'on va le faire sur le côté, face this way. Ouais, puis il revient plus reculé encore, il est pas croisé. So as we were doing flexion, if we do flexion again, see that we want flexion from the thoracic spine, excuse me, not flexion from the lumbar spine. So you've got the right to direct your patient. And if I do it this way so you can see, but that would be on the other side for sure. One end at T2, one end at T6, and applying overpressure this way, not this way. Okay? Extension. If I'm asking my patient to move just this way, see how much range of motion there is in the low back. So what I will be saying, je suis vraiment placée pour ça, bouge pas. Non. Je pense que je vais juste bouger la table. I'm just going to try to find the best angle so that you can see. Let's do it this way. Okay. So what we will be doing, so do again your extension as you did before. So see how much movement there is from the low thoracic spine, but I want to see movement from the upper thoracic spine. This is what we will be assessing. So what I will be asking my patient to do is just lean forward first, so that it will create some increased lordosis. And then I'm going to ask my patient to bring the shoulder up this way, so that I will be having some thoracic range of motion. You might direct your patient, so put your hands there and say, okay, move around this hand, move around this finger. And then at the end range, I will be applying overpressure. If you move the other side so that you can see the overpressure, you don't pass là. Alright. Cross your arm. So again, I just ask my patient to lean forward so that there will be slight lumbar spine lordosis, so you won't be moving from here. I can say just bring the shoulder up, but not only the shoulder, it's the thoracic, so you can guide. And then my overpressure, just this way. Okay? Looking for pain reproduction. So we did some observation, we did range of motion, we did range of motion and overpressure. Remember that even if there's pain with some movement, you will be doing the overpressure. You need to be gentle all the time, but then if it's painful, you will be even more gentle, but often there will be pain. So you want to see what's the end field. If you're not doing overpressure, you won't know what's exactly the end field. Then we need to go maybe through that range of motion analysis one time. And we will be going over it as we practice, and we will be going over it also in the CRW. So we said, if you are limited in rotation, side flexion on the same side, the problem is at the Z or CT joint. Everybody recall it's the Z joint. So if you're starting with rotation and side flexion, and you found that there's limitation on the same side with rotation and side flexion, you are looking for a problem at the Z joint. Then, if it's a problem, you know it's a problem at the Z joint, then let's say right rotation is limited, right side flexion is limited. You know it's a Z joint, that's one thing. Then you should remember that it could be something being problematic on the right side, not moving well inferiorly, so in extension, or not moving well in flexion or superior glide on the left side. Everybody understand this? That's a little bit like the lumbar spine analysis. So right side flexion, right rotation being limited, could be something in extension on the right side or something in flexion on the left side. We are keeping the black and white. The gray life is more complex than that. But if we keep the black and white life, for sure if your patient said, oh, I've got pain on the right side, oh, I will be suspecting something in extension on the right side. If there is pain on the left side, I can suspect, look for something being limited in flexion on the left side. So you see, if you start with the rotation and side flexion, you can find out if it's a Z or CT joint. You may know it's on the right side or left side if there is any pain, or at least you know that you're looking for something in extension on one side, flexion on the other side. Then you will be doing flexion and extension to find out if the problem is on the right or left side in flexion or extension. So right side flexion, right side rotation, right side flexion. Your patient is having pain on the right side. If it matches with everything, black and white light, extension should be limited. If your patient was limited in rotation, right side flexion on the right, the pain was on the left side, in the black and white light, the limitation should be with flexion. Is it clear for everyone? Good. That's what I'm asking you to be good with for the Z. Okay? Then if we go through the CT joint, we said CT joint because of the side flexion, the approximation of the ribs with the iliac crest. There's a movement of the vertebrae, the transverse process. There's more movement of the vertebrae, transverse process than the ribs. And because we named the movement at the costotransverse joint relative to the ribs on the transverse process, if you are moving in left side flexion and right side flexion, at one point the ribs are not moving, but the transverse process is still moving into inferior glide. So with right side flexion, we'll create an inferior glide of the transverse process on the ribs, but we name the joint movement from the ribs, so it's like a superior glide of the costotransverse at the costotransverse ribs. So it's a superior glide of the rib relative to the transverse process. We went over this yesterday, remember? Then we said, because of this, if you are having a limitation at the costotransverse joint, rotation, side flexion should be limited in the opposite direction. So if I'm limited in rotation to the right side, I'm limited in side flexion to the left side, then we need to identify is the problem on the right side or left side or left side, flexion or extension. Then the little trick I gave you, once you did rotation, side flexion, you found that there was limited in rotation, side flexion in the opposite direction. You know it's a CT. Then I said, okay, you know you will be looking for a CT. Then forget the side flexion because it's confusing. Use the rotation. Okay, so you are limited in right rotation, left side flexion, CT. I will be using right rotation. With right rotation on the right side, there is an extension or a flexion. An extension. On the left side, there is a flexion or extension. Flexion. So I know that I'm looking for something at the CT in extension on the right side or flexion on the left side. Then I will be doing flexion. If I'm doing flexion and it's limited but not extension, the problem will be on the left side at the CT. If I'm doing extension, the problem is limited, there's a limitation in extension, not in flexion. We said that there's an extension with rotation. Right side will be limited. Okay, that's the process we went through yesterday. If you were not there, for sure you need to review those things. It will be a bit more complex. You might have been there and still confused. That's okay. But I think the most important thing for you to remember is first identifying the rotation, side flexion, same way or opposite way. Then use the rotation to identify the extension flexion movement and then do flexion extension. Okay, fair enough? Yeah. Then we will be doing rhizomes. I will be asking my patient to cross their arm again. And I will be doing rhizome just by being in front of my patient. And I will be doing exactly as we did for the lumbar spine. Are we doing rhizome to identify the specific movement? What's the goal of rhizome in the spine? To rule out a serious pathology like a fracture, a tumor, an important disc. We're looking for something more serious. What would be the finding then? Pain and weakness in all movement. Okay, this is what you're looking for. Pain by itself is not enough. Okay, So I will be asking my patient to turn, the command should be don't let me move you. So he will know where he should be moving. So I'm resisting right rotation, he is doing left rotation. I will be then switching my hand, don't let me move you. I'm resisting left rotation, he is doing right rotation. Side flexion, a bit like we did for the overpressure. I will be saying don't let me move you. So I'm doing this. So he needs to resist the over side flexion. I will be switching my hands, don't let me move you. This way. Extension, flexion, keep it simple. So I will say, don't let me move you. I just want to activate the muscle and see if there is any limitation, any pain production. Here, don't let me move you, just like this. Okay? So, observation, a quick observation, looking at important thing for now. Then doing range of motion over pressure, rise up. You've got the rolled out of the extremities. So we said, if you've got a problem in the thoracic spine, it could come from the cervical spine. So you may have to do a cervical spine scan, doing range of motion, active over pressure, rise up as needed, to see if part of the patient's problem in the thoracic spine could come from the cervical spine. You may have to do, let's say there's some pain in the thoracic spine and in the shoulder. You may have to do a scapulothoracic spine assessment. You may have to do a glenohumeral spine assessment. Okay? For now, do the thoracic spine assessment. We will be doing cervical spine assessment after, and the shoulder scapulothoracic spine will be done after your OSCE exam. Fair enough? Let's practice those things about the bone rhythm.